If you're only using Quizlet to study, you're missing out on so much more. Don't get me wrong, Quizlet is great for basic flashcards, but in this video, I'm going to show you 10 free tools that can take your studying to the next level. Whether it's for school or self-teaching, these tools will help you study smarter, connect ideas better, and actually understand what you're learning instead of just memorizing it. But before we dive into the futuristic AI tools, let's start with something that will instantly double your memory retention. And it's been proven to work by top students worldwide. When I first started trying to study seriously, I thought the problem was just time. I figured if I reread my notes enough, eventually something would stick. But no matter how many hours I spent, a week later it felt like I was starting from scratch. That's when I found Anki, and it completely changed the game. The problem wasn't how much time I was spending, it was how I was reviewing. Anki uses something called spaced repetition, which basically makes your brain review information right before you'd normally forget it. Instead of random flashcards, Anki is like a smart flashcard system that schedules reviews at the perfect time to lock things into long-term memory. Researchers have known this for over 100 years. Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve shows that we forget 70% of what we learn within days. But if you review at the right intervals, your memory skyrockets. Anki automates that for you so you don't have to think about it. So to get started with this free tool, all you're gonna do is go to the website and then download it. Then just pick one subject and create 10 flashcards. After that, let Anki do all the scheduling. Don't worry about making everything perfect. Even if you only add a few cards a day, within weeks you'll have built a powerful system that feels effortless. Now flashcards are powerful, but what if you never had to waste hours writing them? Imagine if they could basically write themselves. I'll be honest, I actually stopped using flashcards at one point. Not because they didn't work, but because making them felt like a second job. I'd spend hours turning chapters into cards, and eventually I just quit. But then I realized I didn't have to do all that work myself. With AI tools like ChatGPT or Claude, I could drop in my notes, a textbook section, or even a lecture transcript and have high-quality flashcards generated for me in seconds. Instead of spending hours writing, you can focus on reviewing and actually learning. Flashcards only work if you use them consistently. By automating the boring setup, it keeps you focused on what matters, retention. All you have to do is copy your notes, textbook section, or transcript into AI. Then ask it to create flashcards in a Q&A format for Anki. It'll then create those flashcards in an Anki-ready format and generate a file that you can import straight into Anki. Download that file and then import it into your Anki deck. Now you've got a full set of flashcards ready in minutes without doing any of the tedious work yourself. Okay, so you got smarter flashcards, but what about your notes, textbooks, or even lecture recordings? What if you could turn all of that into a personal tutor that works for you 24/7? I used to spend hours trying to summarize books, videos, podcasts, or basically anything I was studying into something useful. It felt like I was consistently drowning in information. That's when I found Notebook LM. I can drop all my sources into it and it'll summarize everything, extract the main points, and even create a study guide I can use to generate flashcards. On top of that, it can turn those sources into a podcast so I can listen to it while I'm walking or commuting. It's like having a personal tutor that can organize all the chaos for me. The value isn't just in collecting information, it's in turning it into something actionable. Notebook LM takes all your scattered sources and distills the most important information so you can study smarter, not harder. When you're studying multiple books, podcasts, or videos, it's easy to miss the key points. Notebook LM extracts what really matters and organizes it into something actionable. Plus, the audio feature engages another learning channel, which reinforces retention and makes reviewing on the go effortless. Here's how I use it. I'll upload books, videos, or podcasts, or any notes on the topic I'm studying. Then I'll ask Notebook LM to summarize the material and create a study guide. I can then use that study guide to extract questions and turn them into Anki flashcards. And every now and then I'll use the podcast version to review while I'm walking or commuting or just doing chores around the house. Within minutes, you've turned a pile of scattered resources into a structured, actionable study system. And the best part is, you didn't have to spend hours doing it yourself. Now here's the thing. Sometimes you don't need a fancy app. The biggest study hack might be hiding in plain sight. When I wanted to learn more about psychology, I started watching videos and listening to podcasts from psychologists on YouTube. At first, it was just curiosity. But over time, I realized I was actually developing real knowledge and learning skills. YouTube went from being a distraction to one of my most powerful free learning tools. The value of YouTube isn't just having access to information. It's in actively learning from creators who are experts in their fields. YouTube is a free platform where you can find tutorials, lectures, and deep dives into almost any subject that you want, turning passive watching into active learning. Learning from multiple perspectives and formats strengthens understanding. Watching, listening, and connecting ideas from different sources helps your brain retain concepts better than reading alone. So what I do is I search for specific topics or questions I need clarity on, and then I'll bookmark videos that explain concepts clearly by saving them to a playlist. Then I'll combine insights from multiple videos with my notes in Notebook LM or Anki to create a complete learning loop. With this approach, YouTube becomes a powerful free resource that helps you build knowledge and skills you can actually use. But what happens when you start drowning in notes and ideas from all these sources? Most people's notes just sit there collecting dust. Let's fix that. For a long time, I didn't even bother taking proper notes. I jot down random ideas in my notes app, keep a few things in Notion, and sometimes even write stuff in a notebook. But all of it felt scattered. And honestly, I wasn't convinced notes were even that helpful. Then I tried Obsidian. Suddenly, note-taking clicked. Instead of piles of disconnected notes, I could actually connect ideas together. For the first time, I felt like my notes were helping me think, not just sitting there collecting dust. Notes are useful on their own, but they're way more powerful when they help you see connections. Obsidian is built on a linked thinking system. That means every note can connect to other notes, creating a web of ideas, like your own personal Wikipedia. Our brains don't work in straight lines. They work in connections. The more links you make between ideas, the easier it is to actually understand and remember them. Here's how I have mine set up. I keep one folder for rough notes, one for source materials like books or podcasts or courses, a section for tags, and then an index where those tags can turn into hubs of connected ideas. I also have a templates folder for consistent note-taking and a main notes folder for my final polished notes. Now I'll be honest, my system isn't finished and I'm still experimenting with it. But even in this rough state, it's completely changed how I learn because I'm no longer collecting information. I'm connecting it now. And that's the beauty of Obsidian. You don't need a perfect setup. Start small, then adjust on the go. And if you want inspiration, there are tons of tutorials out there with different workflows for you to try. Okay, but what about when you hit a wall and need reliable answers fast, without spending hours digging through Google? One of the biggest challenges I used to face when studying was the burden of choice when doing research. I'd type a question into Google and get hundreds of results. Articles, videos, forums, posts. And it could take forever to figure out which ones were actually useful. These days, I know Google often gives helpful overviews with the sources included, but I've found that Perplexity often delivers clearer, more reliable information. The setup with the key points and sources right at the top makes it much more user-friendly. Google is great for exploring broadly. Perplexity is great for getting straight to the point. Perplexity is like an AI-powered search engine, but instead of just showing you links, it summarizes the most important information and cites exactly where it came from. This saves you time and makes it easier to trust what you're learning. You're still free to dig deeper into the sources, but you get the key points right up front. So use Perplexity when you want a fast, clear answer with references included. Just type in your question and it gives you both the summary and the sources so you can double check or go further if you want. It's perfect for those moments when you want clarity without spending an hour clicking through links. By now you've got clear answers from Perplexity, connected ideas in Obsidian, and smarter flashcards, but all this information can get overwhelming fast. That's where a simple system to track what you're learning and plan what's next can make a huge difference. I used to use Notion for everything, tasks, projects, notes, but eventually it just got too messy. I'd spend more time organizing than actually studying. Now I use it for something much simpler, keeping track of what I'm studying and what I want to study. Things like my reading list, a study tracker, and even a list of subjects that I want to learn. That's where Notion really shines. It keeps me on track without getting in the way. You don't have to use Notion for everything. Use it for the big picture, not the details. Think of Notion as your study dashboard. It's not where you do the deep thinking, you use Obsidian for that, or the memorization, that's why you use Anki. But it's where you keep track of your overall learning journey. When you're studying from multiple sources, books, videos, AI tools, it's easy to lose track of what you've actually finished or what you wanted to start. Having one central tracker keeps you motivated and makes your progress visible. So you can start simple with something like a reading list with checkboxes or a study tracker where you log what you do each day. You can also create a list of topics that you want to dive into later. That's it though. No overcomplicated templates or systems. It's just a clear view of where you are and where you're going. Now, even with all these tools, here's the truth. None of it matters if you can't focus. And this next tool is so simple because it's already in your pocket. Even with all these tools, smarter flashcards, connected notes, AI research, and a study tracker in Notion, I noticed a pattern. I wasn't always showing up consistently. I set study time, but distractions would creep in and my focus would fade. So instead of spending money on a bunch of productivity apps, I just pulled out my iPhone and used the iPhone timer. Focus isn't about willpower, it's about structure. Even short, well-defined bursts of work are more effective than hours of distracted effort. The iPhone timer is a simple but powerful tool to implement the Pomodoro technique or any time study session. Timed focus sessions improve attention and retention while preventing burnout. Research shows that the brain can only maintain high focus for a limited period, and short, structured work blocks with breaks help you stay engaged and retain more information. So just set a timer for your chosen study block, say 25 or 50 minutes, and commit to focus only on your task during that time. When the timer goes off, take a short break, then repeat. Over time, you'll notice your productivity and retention improve dramatically. But focus only works if you actually show up. The difference between students who improve and students who burn out often comes down to this. Even with timers and a study tracker, I noticed that some study sessions never happened because I simply forgot or got distracted. I needed a system to plan ahead and hold myself accountable without overthinking it. So that's when I started putting my studying and reading sessions inside my calendar. Showing up consistently is more important than perfect focus. If you miss sessions, even the best tools won't help. Google Calendar lets you block time for study sessions, assignments, or review periods, and it sends reminders so you can actually show up. Research on time management and habit formation shows that scheduling specific times for tasks dramatically increases the likelihood of completing them. Planning ahead reduces decision fatigue and helps build consistent routines. So open your Google Calendar and create events for your study sessions. Set them to repeat if necessary, daily, weekly, or whatever fits your schedule. For me, I usually set a reminder for 1 hour before the study session and then 15 minutes before the study session. And then if you want to save yourself a bunch of time, do this on a computer so you can batch produce all your study blocks. The trick I found is to treat these blocks like a doctor's appointment. It's a non-negotiable. Finally, let's talk about a tool that I recently just discovered that is kind of like my secret weapon right now. Imagine sharing your work, your code, or even your notes and getting instant personalized feedback like you had a private tutor. Even with all these tools, I sometimes hit tricky concepts or problems that left me stuck. That's when I started using Google AI Studio. By sharing my screen or uploading resources, I could get personalized feedback that helped me work through problems step by step, just like having a tutor right there with me. Immediate guided feedback accelerates learning and prevents small gaps from turning into major confusion. Google AI Studio lets you interact with AI to explain concepts, work through problems, or give you feedback on your work in real time. Learning science shows that timely feedback is one of the most powerful ways to retain information and correct mistakes. Instead of practicing blindly, you get guidance as you go, which reinforces correct understanding and prevents errors from becoming habits. You can start using this tool right now by going to the Google AI Studio website and starting a new session. You can share your screen or upload resources with AI and ask specific questions or request step-by-step guidance. Then you can apply the feedback immediately to reinforce understanding. Can you please explain this highlighted section at the 9th grade reading level?
Sure. The highlighted section talks about making progress in life by focusing on developing your character and sense of purpose. It suggests that true growth comes from improving your actions and mindset, not just gaining knowledge or possessions.
You don't need to use all 10 of these tools at once. Start with 1 or 2, then stack them together. The more you integrate, the more you'll find yourself studying faster, retaining more, and actually enjoying the process. But there are even more free tools I couldn't fit into this video, so click this video next, and I'll show you the best ones to take your learning even further. Keep learning, keep growing, keep going, and I'll see you in the next video.